My talk is going to be on AI for cyber and cyber for AI. That's the first part of my talk. It's going to be around 20-25 minutes. And everyone knows that AI is everywhere, right? And so AI is being integrated with practically every area, and AI integrated with cyber, especially AI for cyber, has become really a huge, huge area, okay? And then, of course, AI has to be secure. Then we have to also focus on cyber for AI. And then my second part of it, so this is a part of the talk I gave to the high school students on Saturday that Dr. J organized. And then I'm also going to give a version of this keynote address at the IEEE Big Data Security Conference, and that's going to be in New York City on May 9th. So it sort of gives me good preparation. My second part of the talk is mentoring for career success in computer science for everyone, okay? It is a version of an IEEE conference keynote address I gave sometime in the middle of last year. So I'm going to talk about a version of that talk and a few slides from that part of the lecture. I've also given it in some of the talks I've given at UT Dallas, to address women. Okay, so the first part, what is AI, what is cyber? So very briefly, I'll go through it. And then, of course, the big thing that we know we are hearing about is AI for X. And that X could be anything. That X could be what I say horizontal domains. X could be some features. X could be horizontal domain. When I say horizontal, it's computer science. And X could also be a vertical domain, which means like medicine and law and manufacturing and retail. That is AI for X. X for AI doesn't work for vertical domains. You can't have medicine for AI or law for AI and so on, right? Or law for AI maybe, but and I'm also going to give some examples. And then AI for security, both defensive and offensive. So based on some of the research that we have done, especially with Latifa Khan, and in one aspect, I've also done some work for offensive with Dr. Kevin Hamlin, and also security for AI, that's cyber for AI with Dr. Murad Kantajalu. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And then privacy for AI, AI for privacy, but we won't have much time to discuss that because I'm only going to focus on the security. Then AI governance, I'm not going to talk about that. And then we'll talk about the demonstration examples of some of the previous concepts. And then there's also AI for AI, right? Because you apply AI for cyber and cyber for AI. That very AI you apply for cyber, you can apply for AI. So that's AI for AI. So does that mean we will not have any jobs, especially say in cybersecurity? Because if AI can be applied for cybersecurity, and that same AI can also be applied for AI systems that are attacked, then is there a need for cybersecurity specialists, right? So essentially, am I really, are those of us who are working in cybersecurity, are we going to not have any jobs? But again, that's not the case. Is AI taking over humans? No. So I end up with a statement that AI must develop partnerships with AI to thrive. Humans must develop partnerships and collaboration with AI. Okay, so I'm going to skip this origins of AI. You all would have heard of the Turing test. When you talk about Alan Turing, you only hear about Turing machines. But Turing gave us three great things. The Turing machine in the 1930s, and then fundamentals of biology, I think the neurons, and that was in 1940s, I believe. And then AI in the 1950s. And many consider him to be the father of AI because he wrote a paper, Can Machines Think? And that became the very popular film, The Imitation Game, I believe in 2015. So this definition is from AI Overview. So we started with expert systems in the 1970s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, to data mining in the 1990s, to machine learning in the 2000s and 2010s. And now, of course, we have generative AI and agentic AI, and what is going to come in the future, we don't know. What is cybersecurity? You all know, the practice of protecting systems, networks, programs, data from digital attacks, unauthorized access. It involves a combination of people, process, technology, and so on. I got this also from AI overview. So we started with operating system security in the 1960s and 70s, database security in the 1970s and 80s. So I got into database security in the 1980s when I joined Honeywell in fall 1985. At the same time, also, I got into AI, meaning I developed the first expert system for process control systems. Since then, I've been sort of dabbling in AI off and on. After that, mainly for cybersecurity, right? AI for cyber, cyber for AI. Before even these words were coined, I was working on that. But my main focus was and is in cybersecurity for the last almost 41 years. And also applying first data and then data science, data mining, machine learning, and now AI for cyber as well as cyber for AI. Okay, so AI for X, X for AI. Before cyber, we called it security. But what does security mean? CIA, not Central Intelligence Agency. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So now confidentiality, people, when you read different books, unfortunately, we don't have a standard terminology. So what happens? Confidentiality includes secrecy and also security, also privacy, anonymity. And security in general means recovering from malicious attacks. Okay, so the terminology, people use different things, but it's very important when you read a paper to understand what the author is saying. Now, I'm teaching a class in blockchain, and we are using a book, and his version of privacy includes confidentiality, the whole thing. So, and when you write something, also make it very clear what you mean, because unfortunately, we don't have standard terminology. So our focus now is cyber is our X, right? Security, confidentiality, privacy, governance. This is what I talked on Saturday, but today in class, I'll only talk about security. I mean, today in this lecture, only about security. Of course, integrity, dependability, and other types of X. Blockchain for AI, AI for blockchain. So those who are taking my class this week and next week, it's all going to be either AI for blockchain or blockchain for AI. And earlier I was talking to Dr. Gitti and some others, and so they were talking about software engineering for AI, AI for software engineering, quantum for AI, AI for quantum, AI for cloud. That's also something I'm teaching this semester. So that's other types of X. So anything, any cyber field, I mean, any computer field, you can integrate with AI. Okay, so AI for security, security for AI, various AI technologies. A lot of our work has been on ML, right? Because agentic AI, LLMs and agentic AI, we only started using that in 2003 and afterwards, right? So now all of our work is on LLM and security. So interestingly, we can use AI for defensive, to defend ourselves. But the interesting thing is we can also use AI for offensive operations. That is, we can use AI to attack other people, figure out, give us advice. How can I, penetrate into somebody else's machines? So AI can give the adversary advice as to how to get into our machines. That is going to be really very important. So I was telling that in December, there's a 3 to 5 day very practical course I would like to take on offensive AI. How can I use AI to penetrate into other people's machines? Not because I want to do that, so that I can teach the students. You see, about 10 years ago, people were very, very politically conscious because we never used the word offense. We always said, we knew offense was always being carried out, but we used the word active defense. We want to actively defend ourselves. But now the word offense is used all the time. So defensive and offensive. Offensive operations include AI to determine how to attack others. We can also use AI to determine how the enemy may use it. So remember, if we want to catch the enemy, we have to think like him or her, right? So many of us in cybersecurity, we don't. Unfortunately, like in my case, it's very hard for me, maybe because whether I'm a woman or not, very hard for me to think like a thief or a hacker. But I find that quite a few, not mostly, quite a few can think that way. They're very smart. And I'm sure I've got two of my colleagues here in our team, Dr. Imtiaz Karim and Dr. Zinda Wang. They are very, very good. So I think maybe some of the, I said mostly women, right? But maybe some of the younger generation women and mostly all men, they can think that way, I feel, So secure, then of course AI has to be secure. So security for AI. Okay. So other types of, so we are looking at essentially at attacks. Other types is cyber include confidentiality, privacy, accuracy, and more, dependability, and also fairness for all, right? Every person has to be treated fairly. Okay. So very briefly, I'm going to show a few charts that will describe how we have applied AI for cyber, is an example, and then cyber for AI. So AI for cyber, both defense and offense. Here we are talking about defense. What are we doing here? So this work is about 10 years old. We are still continuously improving. So we are using the past, data streams are arriving. Continuously data is arriving. It could be network data, attack data, stock market data, continuously arriving. Concepts are changing. So what was true yesterday could have been buy Microsoft stock. Today could be buy stock from Meta. So you can't have one size. So back when I was at NSF, a program director, 25 years ago, there was really this need to do real-time data mining. How can you do data mining and handle changing patterns? And we couldn't do that. But 15 years later, we were able to do that. We built, the mastermind behind this is Dr. Khan, Latifa Khan. We build an ensemble of models and then only fixed number of models. Right? So these models are fixed. So X number of, let's say N number of models. So if say only 10 models, that means periodically the models have to talk to each other. That's what happens here. The models have to talk to each other and then they have to decide. Yeah, so models have to, I'm showing it here. The models have to talk to each other and the ones that are not performing correctly, repeatedly they are giving wrong results, then they discard them. Right? It's done automatically, but the human can sit here and monitor. So we are using machine learning algorithms. Okay, so this gave us some very good results, and we have really built upon this. And now this was based on machine learning. And now we have sort of migrated to working with LLMs and especially agentic AI. Okay, so this is again, remember, AI for cyber. So this is an application for insider threat. Because of lack of time, we have a number of papers. So essentially the person here is sort of typing away. We break the data stream into chunks. So I chunks, CHUNK, and then we extract the features used and use a variety of machine learning techniques and then develop an ensemble of models, and the models are talking to each other, and then throw away the bad models. And then when the I+1 chunk comes, we extract the features, and then we have already got a training model. Remember, the model is changing. And then we test and decide, is it an attack or not? Or is it an insider or not? Okay. But now our work, okay, has really gone far beyond this, where we are bringing in LLMs, and we are also integrating with RAGs, and then MITRE's attack, ATT, and CK framework, integrating all that to tell us, give us advice, is this an attack or what sort of attack, what sort of solutions, a whole range of not just attacks, all types of solutions. Okay, so we are really advanced, but again, this is AI for cyber. Now, this is very interesting. This is really Dr. Hamlin his brainchild. So I did a little bit of work at Dr. Khan and some others. So here, how can the attacker is the malware. So remember, before the antivirus products or the malware detection products come out, because it's not coming every day, but maybe these days it's a little bit different. So this was about 10 years ago. These products, the malware products, are not being updated every day, maybe every few days. But before that, the malware can change patterns, right? So today I've got black and gray hair. Tomorrow, I was actually thinking about putting some blue. When I was doing that, maybe I should use some blue powder on my hair, but is that going to disguise me? Anyway, so malware is going to change patterns, and it's trying to change patterns in such a way it's not going to be detected. How is it changing patterns? So here we are talking about applying machine learning. The malware is applying looking at the antivirus signature database here, okay? It's applying machine learning and then deciding how to obfuscate, how to change its pattern so that it's not caught, okay? So it's looking at the antivirus signature, all of the patterns already stored, and then talking to the machine learning algorithms and asking it, help, I want to obfuscate myself, give me the best answer. And we had some good results. Remember, that was then, about 10 years ago. Today, with LLMs and agentic AI, we can do this extremely effectively. And that's the area I want to take a course in, I was mentioning to you, in December, to learn how to develop these offensive tools and how to use these offensive tools. Okay, now, then all of our cyber for AI. So we build cyber for AI based on this framework. So the infrastructure, we are still using cloud for infrastructure. And then, of course, the data layer. And then we have the machine learning AI layer. And then we have the applications. So initially, I started with social media applications, but now I'm not really, because I was teaching a class on analyzing social media and securing. But now our main application for us, at least, is transportation. And we can apply this also for AI, right? Cyber for AI. So when any of these systems, transportation systems attack, cyber systems attack, cyber, blockchain, healthcare, finance, any systems being attacked, we can apply this framework. And the side we have security, privacy, integrity, fairness, provenance, as well as fault tolerance, resiliency, dependability, real-time processing, reliability, bringing all these features. The challenge we have is we can't even do one thing properly, like security. Right? How can we bring in privacy on top of that? How can we bring integrity? That is today. I feel that cyber for AI, right? We are only looking at AI systems being attacked. Eventually, I'll tell you how we think we can bring all of it. Eventually. I don't know as humans whether we can do it, but with the help of AI, we can bring in likely, I'm not saying for sure, likely we can bring in all these features for safeguarding AI. Remember, we started off with cyber for AI. So we want security, privacy, integrity, fairness, fault tolerance, resiliency, dependability, real time, and reliability. All of that we want to apply for AI. But we are just struggling with one thing. Okay, we can do security, maybe for some of the attacks. We can do maybe privacy a little bit, integrity, fault tolerance, but how do we bring in all this? Okay, it's really, at this moment, it's impossible. But I think that if we can bring in AI to do this for us, for AI, and work with AI in partnership, we could achieve this. Okay, so again, what does cyber for AI mean today? So this is with Dr. Kantajulu. So again, it's not concept-driven or online learning. I'll just give you an example. So we have a support vector machine boundary line. Okay, that's the yellow line. Below are good instances, above are bad instances. So what the adversary is trying to do, right? He's trying to do offensive things, learning about our algorithms. Okay, so here adversary is doing a little bit of offense to learn about our algorithms to thwart us. And so he's trying to break our support vector machine algorithm, the adversary. So what happens is, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instances now become good instances. They are pretending to be good people. So we have to be several steps ahead. We have to figure out how adversary learned about us and then try to combat the adversary. So in this work, we are using game theory. We are not using AI, to figure out AI. So we are using game theory. Remember, this is all work is 10 years old. We are using game theory to figure out how did the adversary know us? How can we play a game with the adversary and put the adversary off track? So what we do here is a little bit confusing, meaning that the red crosses are bad, and this is the boundary line. The green circles are good. Okay, the black dashed line is a standard boundary line. We are doing a lot of computations, mathematical computations, not AI, and we are trying to move this line here, the blue line. So once we move the blue line, several of the bad guys are going to be caught, but there are still some bad instances not caught. So eventually you can ask, we can move the blue line right here, but what's the point? All the good instances will be shown as bad instances. We don't want to have false positives. We don't want to have false negatives. So current solutions that we have been working on over the past, this kind of work, I think Dr. Murat and myself and one of our research scientists, we were among the first. A paper came out in 2012, since then published a lot of papers, but we have been using game theory and mathematical algorithms, okay, to figure out what is the best way to figure out what the attacker is doing and how can we fool the attacker. But today, I think we have to migrate to AI. So instead of coming up with game theory solutions, I think what we need to do today is come up with AI. AI is now, so there are some people now applying AI to, AI for cyber, right? Both defensive and offensive. I've already said that. However, AI systems could be attacked. So what can we do? We can take these very AI tools that we have developed and explore further and see whether we can apply AI to detect attacks in AI systems. So that's called AI. I'm calling it AI for AI. That is, use AI to detect cyber attacks on AI. We are not there yet, but I think we are getting there. So once you get there, that's what I'm a little worried, but okay. So once you get there, right, AI for AI works perfectly, but I don't think it's going to work, because even though all these autonomous vehicles and so on, I don't know, I won't get into one of them, but there are, my son, daughter-in-law, and my grandchildren, when they go to California, they're always on Waymo. Okay, so I don't know, but is this really going to work? So that means if AI for AI works perfectly, and it's not yet, is there a need for human in the loop? After reading many articles, and also thanks to discussions with the Dr. Imtiaz Karim, he sent some links, and also Dr. Wang, I am saying yes, we need humans. So this is my last slide of this first part, okay? Will AI take over everything we do? No. AI systems are continuously going to be faulty. They can hallucinate, they can lie, they can do all kinds of bad things, they can try to be vindictive. We don't know, malicious or otherwise. So we need the humans. We need specialists to navigate and direct. Now, there are numerous jobs for software developers. We all say, oh God, what are we going to do, right? Software development is ending. No. There are a lot of jobs for computer scientists, but we must embrace AI and use it to enhance what we do, not fear it. And Dr. Imtiaz sent me a link, which I shared with Dr. Descu. And this is an excellent article, if you can read. The director of the School of Computing from University of Washington. She gave an interview, and she says IBM is practically knocking at their door. Several companies, they want software developers, but not like the software developers of my time. Remember, I started my career as a software developer doing networking. And I'll talk about my career and so on, the second part, okay? So we have to, every single one of you, including me and everyone, regardless of whether you are 20 or 70 years like me, you have to embrace AI, okay? So same applies, so please read this article. Same applies for teachers and professors, lawyers, medical doctors, even plumbers. Every single one of us have to embrace AI. Not just you guys, software developers, even teachers and professors like us. And we have to use it to enhance our work. Okay, those who do not embrace and work collaboratively, build a partnership with AI, we are going to fail. So we will have plenty of jobs like IBM. They're laying off people, right? They're laying off tens of thousands, maybe people, older people like me, but they want software developers who are really very strong in AI-based software development. So every single one of it is very serious. If you all want to have a job and if you want a thriving career, a long career, as Dr. Gitti said, I started when I was 25 in 1980, my career. And then 5 years, I was like visiting faculty a couple of years in software development. I'll talk about it in a minute. And then we have to, then I always kept with the times, okay? Means software development. I learned how to do good software development in the early 1980s and then Honeywell. So I've had a 45-year career and hopefully I can work for another 10 years if I'm healthy. So that means I cannot be what I was yesterday or day before or last year or 10 years ago. I've got to embrace AI and use AI in my work and in my teaching and in my research. Okay, so build partnerships and work collaboratively with AI. That is my message. Okay, so now mentoring for career success for all. Okay, so we'll answer questions later, right? Once I've finished both. Okay, so also playing the long game to win. The playing the long game part, I already talked a little bit about it in one of my previous GRACE lectures, but it's all a new audience, so I thought I'll repeat. Okay, so a little bit about myself. Right, why is mentoring so important? We are living in a complex world, rapidly evolving due to technology, worldwide web, social media, COVID-19, everything has changed. Okay, it's like for me, COVID-19 really brought a different world, right? And I'm sure for quite a few of us here, everything changed for us. While there are numerous career opportunities in general and AI, the competition is also extremely intense. It is almost impossible, I'm saying, for a person to succeed in his or her career without the advice and mentorship of the senior researchers, developers, and technologists. In fact, this afternoon, I spent an hour talking to a colleague at a university. He's in a decent university. He says he's not getting promoted to full professor. He's an associate professor and talks about all the challenges. So I talked about strategy and certain things that he has to do. Okay, so in a way, I spent an hour of my time from about, I think, 3:30 to about 4:30 this afternoon, trying to mentor him. Okay, so he said he has learned a lot on how to, so he thought that doing great work, right, it's a PhD from a top 6 computer science department. He said he thought doing great work and everything, he'll do well, but politics has come into the picture. So every person I have known who has succeeded has had a mentor, in many cases, multiple mentors who have guided him or her and supported him or her during the early stages of his or her career. It's not just early stages, even throughout one's career. Only thing, like when you are like my age, how many other older people, more senior people you have? But it doesn't have to be senior people. Even sometimes more junior people can also give you advice. Okay? Therefore, every career professional must have a mentor, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, and age. Okay, so that's why I'm saying, regardless of whether you are 70 or 20, you need to have a mentor. Okay, so lack of a mentor is perhaps the most important reason why some have not done as well in their careers, right? So this man who talked to me, he very good pedigree, very good research and everything, but he thought that was all he needed. So I said, you've got to go well beyond that. So lack of opportunity start at an early age. Certain groups may be given preferences over others. As time progresses, some are left behind in schools, colleges, in the workforce. Some groups also have a tremendous disadvantage, as often their parents are not as educated and do not have financial resources. If those who lack resources are fortunate enough to get an education and a good job, there are very few like them who are at higher positions, and so the junior researchers, developers, technologists are often ignored, okay, and left to fend for themselves. So what I'm trying to say that, you know, even if some of us have been fortunate, there are many more who have not done as well, and a lot of it, okay, there's economic reasons and so on, but the mentorship is so important. Okay, now there are different aspects to it, because some people are offered this mentorship in companies and some are don't. So who said life was fair, right? So I'll talk about some of my experiences. They may not want to play that. You have to be patient. You cannot express results immediately. And I'm going to talk about some of my personal experiences. First step is to realize there is a problem. So I'm glad that this guy I talked to, now he says, I understand so much now. Okay, if anything that I've learned is that being technically brilliant is not everything. Okay, that's not sufficient. Maybe for some it's sufficient. So especially those from privileged communities, they don't even realize there's a problem. Okay, recent discussions and efforts have brought this problem to the forefront. As a result, there's much more awareness that mentoring plays a major role in developing successful careers. We need mentoring for all. It doesn't mean women need mentoring and not men, or men and women, or different types of, different race, gender. Everyone needs mentoring. So I hope that these are not just words, that all of us to work together to handle the challenges. We have to go beyond our own gender, race, ethnicity, economic background, because sometimes women like to mentor women like to go to women, or men like to mentor men. So we have to just, be kind of blind to gender, race, ethnicity, color, whatever, and try to mentor everyone. Of course, we only have so much time. Okay, now my personal story. Back in the early to mid 1990s, is this the first one? Just a second. Okay, so this is not, okay, so certain things I have deleted, I think. Okay, so back in the early to mid 1990s, I was in my mid to late 30s and thriving, doing technical work. I thought, doing great technical work. The general impression was Bhavani is very good in her work, due to my outstanding publications and the ability to establish projects and getting funding. I was not at UT Dallas. I was in a federal research lab. Then there was a highly visible position opening up at work. And I was interested. It's the head of data management. Today, it would be head of data science. Okay. I felt I had all the credentials, but hardly anyone thought of me as a contender. Maybe it was subconscious bias. Fortunately, one lady who had worked with me, she was only a few years older to me, and she was in a senior position. She recognized my talent and my capability and then recommended me for the position. There was one other person, let's call the other person X. All I can say is the other person was also a woman, was competing for that position. And I was told by this lady means the lady who was supporting me, that X's supporters were undermining me and saying vicious stories about me. Okay, so they said, oh, Bhavani is not good at teamwork, Bhavani doesn't collaborate. And I think those of you who know me know very well that I'm a strong team player. But still they were saying very negative things. My managers who wanted me to get that position, they were puzzled. Why are these people talking? And then they have to go to senior people, right? The top VP level, they have to go and talk to them to get me the position. But when all these bad stories are being said about me, so I needed to provide more evidence of my excellence. right? So I had to go provide that much more. If not for this lady, the lady who was, senior person who was helping me, I would not even have known there was a problem. So that's when I acted. I remember I contacted my mentor, the late Professor C.V. Ramamurthy. By the way, his 100th birthday is coming up May. And in August, I'm delivering Professor C.V. Ramamurthy Distinguished Lecture. It's going to be in Belgium. I wonder why they are having it in Belgium, because it's a conference that he founded. And so at that conference, so his 90th, his 10th death anniversary and 100th birthday all happening around the same time. Okay, the professor at UC Berkeley. So one evening, so I had my husband and son were going to England. So I went and dropped them at the airport. I came home and I was really almost in tears, crying. And then I said, okay, Professor Ram, and we talked for, guess what, 4 hours. I started at about 6, fortunately he was in California, right? So 6 or 7 o'clock, and talked to him for about 4 to 5 hours, strategizing, what should I do? And he advised me, and we discussed many things. And so then some of the things I did, I then requested my sponsors, who were very high up in the US government, to write letters because of all my excellent work. I had to be, because I was being invisible, really. So I contacted Army, Navy, Air Force, NSA. Okay, because I had contacts at that time. Unfortunately, I don't have all those contacts now because I was doing a lot of work for them. I was an advisor to NSA. And also some other people, one person, a very senior person in the MITRE Corporation that was working, was supportive of me. So I asked him, please write letters. And so in a week, my boss is getting so many letters about me, how wonderful I am and how great I am. He's getting, why am I getting all these letters? So then he talked to this lady, all I can say is the name was Maria, wonderful lady. And I'm sure Ovidio will know who she is. And so she said, please go and, Henry was my boss, please go and take this and show it to the important people. So what a team player I was, a guy from NSA, my old website, I need to put it back on my new website. He said that I've been such a wonderful mentor to his junior staff, doing research at the National Security Agency, about 4 or 5 people. And then he said that I can be very objective in evaluating research and projects, so many great things. So they also mentioned I was a mentor to those young guys who were in their mid-20s. So my boss was very happy. He made a strong case for me and I got the position. I mean, the amount of work I had to go through. So I was around 38 at the time, and that position was very crucial to my career. Soon after that, thanks to Professor Ram, I got nominated for awards. Professor Ram nominated me for IEEE CS Technical Achievement Award, IEEE Fellow, and then, as they say, rich get richer. So what that means is, one, you get an IEEE Fellow, then comes AAAS Fellow, then comes ACM Fellow, and all that adds up. But that initial break, I'm just giving you one example. I got it from Professor Ram. Okay, so I was very, okay, I don't know whether I'm sending the correct version, but I thought I'm playing the long game, so I'm not really repeating what I said last time. Okay, so I was very fortunate because this lady happened to be working with me and was senior to me. We cannot depend on luck. Okay, so that's what I was telling this guy. He has to be more the guy I was talking to. He has to be more proactive. He has to be visible. He has to be seen. So to make an effort to get a mentor from day one. Now, remember, academia is a little bit different because we get a lot of grants and publications and so on. We are recognized. But when you work for companies, you can be invisible. That is why you need a mentor, because many of you all, like how when I started my career, we worked for commercial companies, federal labs. I was not in academia. It took me 24 years after my PhD to get into academia. So we cannot depend on luck. We have to make an effort to get a mentor from day one, regardless of whether we are in high school, college, or in the workforce. We must talk to senior people, not one, but many, see who will be willing to be our mentor, and also see whether we have a good rapport with him or her. ever since that experience, I've always had a mentor. And I've also been a mentor to many people because I understand how they feel, how you feel when you are invisible. I always motivate and encourage them. Why there's a tendency for me to mentor women? Because again, I mean, it's, women are, women are more comfortable with women and men are more comfortable with men, but we shouldn't be like that. We're to treat everyone the same way. So I've also been a mentor to men of all races. Like today, I was talking to this guy, right? He's a man, not a woman. So I worked hard to recruit, often through my colleagues, PhD students from all groups of people. And I benefit a great deal from mentoring and learning from the mentees, right? So advice to mentors and mentees. Okay. Mentors, first and foremost, junior faculty and researchers are coming to you because you are successful in what you are doing. Likely you are in this position because there's at least one person who has helped you in your education and career. So we cannot forget that. For me, it was Professor Ram, number one, and then this lady Maria. Okay, and a few others as well. Mentorship can be very rewarding and uplifting. Once you start mentoring, it can bring you great joy seeing your mentees thrive. Okay, it's almost like being a parent, right? Because when the child does well, you are so, so proud. And now the grandchildren do well. I mean, my grandson's graduation was kindergarten, and I was just over the moon. I was so happy, And so mentees plan on what you will be, mentees, right? Plan on what you are going to be discussing with your mentor. Focus on education and career, not complain about colleagues, or don't go and say, I'm depressed, what am I? I'm not a psychologist. I cannot handle, if you are depressed, you've got to go to a psychologist, not to a professor like me. Okay, don't go and start complaining and grumbling and talk about this person, that person, no. Once you develop a rapport with your mentor, it is the most rewarding relationship. If there's a new position you want to be considered, then discuss with your mentor whether it is the right position for you and how you might go about getting the position. Sometimes you want positions, but it may not be the correct position. But if your mentor says that's not the correct position, don't just listen to him or her. Go and talk. Everybody is different. You may want to talk to some other people as well. Okay, so you have to play. I gave another Grace lecture. Good thing I didn't duplicate with that. So this is a completely new one. You must play the long game. That is, not expect immediate rewards. Okay, so that's what I told this guy. This person today, when I say long game, not expect this year or next year, but long game means different. Don't wait for 20 years, right? But don't expect the results tomorrow. So that's the main thing. Mentoring is crucial for career success for everyone. Every organization must have policies for mentoring. However, we cannot just arbitrarily bring people with different backgrounds without the necessary skills appropriate for the job with respect to multiple dimensions, technical management, leadership. We have to hire the right people, right? So you need to have the right qualifications. And to get those skills is where you need the mentor. Good mentoring will enable a person to understand the culture. Oh, that's very important. Culture of the organization. Academia is a bit different, but those of you who are going to industry, you have to understand the culture. Because who to talk to, who should you get, who should you be, you just don't want to go and parade yourself, so the culture of the organization. Right, so what it takes to succeed, then pursue a plan of action, like taking courses, working on degrees, taking more and more challenges. This in turn will help the person to compete at the highest level for the jobs. The organization must ensure that every individual is given access to the mentoring support and any other support needed, regardless of the person's background, man or woman, whatever race, whatever age, so that she can succeed and be considered for awards and promotions. And also we need domain-specific mentors, right? artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, you can't just go to generalists. Okay, there is lifestyle coaches and so on. Yeah, they may help you to organize your time. Sometimes I feel I need a lifestyle coach and I haven't gone about getting one. They may help you to organize your time and so on. That's good. But you have to go to domain specific, right? If you want cybersecurity, someone who has been in cybersecurity or AI, not generalists. Only those working in your field will really understand what you need to do to advance your education and career. Now, I cannot tell another person how to manage his or her time, or whether he or she should meditate, which I do, by the way, most mornings. All of that, psychologist has to say. Okay, I can give advice on maybe from a computer science point of view. That's why I'm saying for computer science, you need to go to a computer scientist. Okay, play the long game and win. Okay, so Alison McWilliams published in Psychology Today, focusing on things that matter, not to expect immediate rewards, taking small steps, don't go after the shiny new object. And another lady wrote an article in Forbes, playing the long game can be one's comparative advantage. It emphasizes not to look for short term and so on. And I wrote an article, but actually I'm updating my web pages right now. So it may not be, it may not be accurate, the link. Okay. Okay, I don't want to talk about, time is up. You can read this. I talk about how I played the long game and kind of won in my marriage. Okay, example 1. And then I talk about example 2 and example 3. So I'm going to skip it. I think I've given you all enough, because I had an arranged marriage. So it was not easy. I was 20 years old. And so my husband had to have everything certain way. I didn't have, I had to do my master's and my PhD. So I waited until I had a high paying job. That took me 8 years. And then I put down all my what I wanted. Out of the marriage, my husband agreed to everything. So I waited for 8 years. You were smiling. I waited for 8 years. And I had to be in bed by 10 o'clock. I had to wake up at 6 o'clock. And you all know when we are studying, right? Sometimes you can't have all these rules. But I did it anyway, because I didn't want any, my mother, she would get furious. Why are you listening to what he said? Go and do what I said, Mother, if I leave him, can you find me another marriage? She says, no, because I had an arranged marriage. So in our culture, right, once a woman is married, that's it. Okay, no opportunity for a second marriage. So I said, look, I know what I'm doing. And 8 years later, I got my first job, 1983, not first job, I was a visiting faculty. 1983, I got my, I think I was paid about $36,000, which was a good salary in Minneapolis at that time. And then I also was at University of Minnesota as an adjunct faculty. So that was my first. And then my second thing, how I got into my example 2, I had to wait 24 years from 1980 to get into academia. That's what I wanted. I was offered a tenure track position at 25. I gave it up because I wanted to, because I felt I couldn't juggle being a mother and also, working for tenure. So I waited and went roundabout way. Then I landed a tenured full professor position at UT Dallas. And my third example is the example I gave you, right? Professor Ramamurthy. And again, the same advice, right? Develop a support network, most important to have mentors and learn from them, right? Today, after 45 plus, it's going to be 46 years in August, I look forward to every day of my life and career, continue to play the long game as I enter the next phase. Although I have to say though, so this was an article that was written about, that's what Gitti said. Although I was saying that, I don't know. I mean, I thought, very recently I've been I need to get more motivated about mentoring and so on, because my mind is always with my grandchildren. So I need to think a little bit more about me. There's one award I got to, all I have to do is write something and send it. And I've procrastinated for 3 weeks. It's almost like I don't want that award, but I have to do it. So I think I'm really going to get down to it and do it. So I was telling Gitti that the last, 2 or 3 months, I've been not as excited about, every day in the morning when I wake up. So I really need to get back into it, because you need to have a balance. You can't think all the time about family and not think about work, or all the time about work and not think about family. You really need to have that balance, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. So that's my talk. I think I went a little over. Okay, so yeah, time for questions.
Probably another time, another question. Want to make sure you get to ask your question, but we have our survey, and I know a lot of you have to do that, so we're going to share that with you. So while you're asking your question, you can scan it and join the survey. We also have gifts for 3 of you guys that you're going to win the raffle. Thank you so much again for the great talk.
I hope you all have at least a few questions. Otherwise, I stand here talking for almost an hour, and then there are no questions.
Yes, you have. Go ahead, please.
You mentioned that you're 70 years old.
Yes.
What's driving you? Why not just retire and just relax and do nothing?
Okay. What is driving me? That's a very good question. Because all of you are going to be 71 days, okay? So what is driving me? As long as I'm healthy and my mind is working, and most days, not all days, most days I don't feel old or even a day older than 50. Some days I feel like 90 maybe. I don't know what it's going to be like. Some days I get tired. So as long as I am healthy and my mind is working and my memory is still very good, why not? Okay, because it's something I really enjoy. That doesn't mean this is what I do all the time. I mean, I also love to spend time with my grandchildren. I'm writing a book for them, and I don't know, a story. They keep asking, they call me Archie, which is grandmother in Tamil. When are you going to finish the book? Now I'm thinking, cheating and getting ChatGPT to write the book for me. But I can't cheat for them, okay? As long as I tell truthfully, that's ChatGPT written book. But if I'm doing that, and if they find that I'm using ChatGPT, they might use it too. So what's driving me? I think it's my, it's just joy of doing things. I think it's not awards like I'm procrastinating that award that they asked me to send that information. I had 3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks I haven't sent it. So I really need to get down to it. So I find that getting more awards and recognitions is not as exciting as it was even 2 years ago. Okay, so that part, but on the other hand, I have to tell you, I'm enjoying myself so much more. Just being, that is something I did not have even 2 or 3 years ago. So that part, I feel, I know it's very hard to explain. I enjoy being myself. I was never like that until very recently. So I don't know what is driving me, but I don't know if I understand what I'm trying to say, right?
Maybe it is having the grandkids that is sometimes it brings in a little more joy, and at least that's what my mom tells me.
No,
So
I know grandkids are a big thing, but I'm not living in New York City. I mean, I'm more time I spend in Dallas. But it's that, but also I don't know, just living, I suppose. Maybe when you get older, you get to appreciate. So that's what's driving me. So every day is sort of like a joy. So a month or so, I feel, why do I need to? So I really have to, once in a way I feel like that. So I really have to get back into it.
Then into some other question.
Yes.
Yes. Any, Phyllis?
Oh, sorry.
And also this here, you can scan it and join us. Any other questions?
Yeah, you have a question? Okay, Dr. Darcy.
Mine are a bit hard.
Fine.
My questions are a bit hard.
That's a hard question, but not for her.
So first, you give an example of a woman that you have mentor to success. One, and the second one, can you give us an example of a woman that you will mentor to success?
A woman who I have mentored.
To success.
I
And
think
one
I have
that you will
mentored.
mentor.
I think I've mentored many women.
You just did one.
Okay, one. I don't know. Elisa Bertino she's about 2 or 3 years younger to me, but she's like the most famous computer scientist, very well known. But she always tells people that Bhavani mentored her, that I was her mentor. Although I was, Karim's Dr. NGS's advisor. So she mentions that. That means I mentored someone who has become far more successful than myself, and I'm very happy about it. And so, and then there are several people. There's Elena. I mean, many people will say that. There is Barbara and many more women. Okay. And a woman that I'm going to mentor. Pardon? That's hard. Now, I know Ashrafi was my student, so she's at Townsend University, and I'm mentoring her. Sometimes she annoys me a little bit because she doesn't respond right away, because I'm very, very organized and I do the immediate answers. But we are okay now. I mean, we're doing something together. So hopefully, Zinda, I hope I can mentor you. I haven't done that a lot. So I think that I don't know I mean, there is Zinda, there's Ashrafi, there are many people, many women. Not many, there are a few women. But I haven't seriously started mentoring. Okay. That is also because, remember what I told you, that I'm really enjoying being myself. So maybe I need to get tired of that a little bit so I can start refocusing on other people. So I don't know what that means, enjoying. I would never have said that 2 years ago. Enjoying being myself.
So you are mentor of my daughter. We always talk about.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I really admire Diti and
Thank you, Mera.
Bera, and sorry, Priya. You said 70 years old, one thing I didn't remember their names. That's one thing that one starts fading a little. One thing I noticed, being 70 is not, I can remember almost everything, but names you begin forgetting. Yeah. So, so I really appreciate it. We have a wonderful department head here. With Dr. Dias.
Second question.
Yeah, oh gosh, how we
How
do?
many times have you given a talk in the case series?
How many times? I was the first one, 2015. Then I gave 2022. And then I gave in 2021, 2024. Just a minute. 2015, April 1st. Okay. 2022, October, I think it was 25th. 2021 was September 7th or something. I don't know the exact date. 2024, April around this time. I don't have the exact date. And now 2026.
So make it 5.
Yes, exactly 5.
Like in Saturday Night Live, we should give you a jacket. Because I think you are the first one that each 5, giving 5 talks.
Yeah, but I'm 70 years old, so I'm 5. So we divide by, yeah.
It's the last 10 years, so I think that's amazing.
The readers, yeah.
Willingness to actually come here at 7 p.m. after a full day of work and so this motivational talks.
And Dr. Daraskew, every time I talk of new topics.
Every time you talk,
Yeah.
that's also.
So I think when you talk, it completely, I mean, I see a lot of experience behind your talk. So especially for the technical talk that it was a very short talk.
Yes.
But I learned a lot.
Oh, thank you.
So,
And maybe you said experience. So answer your question. I said I enjoy being like myself. That is because I think all this experience, and I feel I don't have to prove to anyone. Maybe that's the thing.
yeah.
I don't have to prove to anybody. It's just enjoying being myself. So I don't have to constantly try to, I won't say brag, try to, prove to people about, that I'm doing well and I'm going to get more awards, and I can't believe that this award nomination, I'm keeping it for 3 weeks. And they were expecting it, there's no deadline, but they were expecting it 3 weeks ago. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
So much.